What's cracking to people? I'm Nazi here.
We are back.
And we just got done watching the cutscene slash dialogue cinematics of the game Mafia,
Yeah.
the definitive edition for, I believe, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, it was.
At this point, once again, I should preface by saying that we have not played this game. We've only sat down and watched the cutscenes.
Yeah.
I believe your experience with the series is you've only played 3.
Yeah, I haven't fully played through. I played some of it, but
Yeah.
I have played and watched it
Yeah.
like 5 or 6 times. I've never ever seen any of the first Mafias or the second Mafia ever.
Yeah.
So this is my first time ever seeing it. So for a blind react, seeing all the cutscenes.
And I've seen all three of the games. I've not seen the DLC for 3, and I've only seen bits and pieces of the original Mafia. And I gotta say, when I first sat down and watched this, I was legitimately surprised at how much it just pulled me in immediately. Like, just to start off, graphics on this game, beautiful.
Yeah, no,
Like, they're legitimately good.
Yes.
You know, like, I know it's like, as each generation of games, of consoles go and the graphics get better and better and better, it's easy to look back on older games and be like, okay, how did we ever think this was good? I don't think this game's graphics are going to age much at all.
No,
Which is saying something, because usually real, like, photorealistic games, their graphics don't last that long.
Yeah, and I gotta say, to me personally, just compared to Mafia 1 versus Mafia 3 graphics, I think Mafia 1s are way better than Mafia 3s.
Well, I would also argue that that's down to the fact that they're in 2 different time periods, because Mafia takes place in 1930s New York.
Well, yeah.
Whereas I believe Mafia 3 takes place in like 1970s.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying that only because there was something when I was playing, and I don't think the certain people behind the scenes didn't finish up certain like areas. There was one scene where I guess when the characters had killed somebody, and the sun or the brightness, it blew up where I could even see the characters.
Okay, I'll give you that one. I think that's probably like an oversight in graphics.
Yeah.
Maybe the lighting engine went haywire. I honestly couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting back to Mafia 1. So Mafia 1 stars our main protagonist is Thomas Angelo, aka Tommy Angelo.
Yeah, Tommy.
And he is a cat. And he starts off in the story. He's meeting with a detective named Norman.
Yes.
He's a Scottish guy. I think he's Irish. He's Irish.
Yeah, he's Irish.
And they're meeting at a restaurant to make a deal.
Yes.
Tommy wants to share his information with Norman in exchange for protection for his family.
Yeah.
And then we flash back 10 years later.
Yeah.
To 10 years prior to 1930. Mostly this is 1940. We're back to 1930.
Yeah.
And we see that Tommy is a cab driver.
Yeah.
He works nice because the pay was better. This is when his life changes drastically.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is that we cut to these 2 characters, Sam and Polly, and they are being chased by these mafiosos, right? And they bump into Tommy, and Sam has him at gunpoint. You will drive us, or I shoot you.
Yeah.
And from then on, Tommy's life is just never the same.
Yeah, it's not. It goes crazy. It's like the way you explain that is something like once somebody or like the top dog of the mafia offers to help you out or give you some type of loan, you can't get out of that. Like you can't get out of that that realm.
Yeah.
Because once that happens, you're stuck. You're stuck.
Yeah.
There's no getting out of that.
Yeah.
And then and I can't remember the boss. Was it Don?
The boss for Sam and Polly, his name is Don Salieri.
Yeah, Don Salieri.
So what happens is after Thomas helps them escape, they drive to Salieri's place.
Yes.
His car is shot to pieces. Not shot to pieces, but it's shot up.
Yeah.
Got some dings and stuff, dings and scratches. And Sam and Polly get out. Sam tells him to wait so that way he can get paid by the Don.
Yeah.
So he comes back. He hands him some money, and to hear Tommy explain it, is enough to not only fix the cab, it's nearly enough to buy a whole new one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money that he's
Yeah, no,
handed.
it was a lot of money. I was like, and I'm saying for me, for blind reacting to it, I was like, oh, something is not going to go well with this,
Yes.
because the fact they gave him that amount of money just for helping him,
Yeah.
and said that can cover a whole new taxi cab, that was a situation that he just needs to say, no, I'm good. I'm good.
And to Thomas's credit, he did say, and once again, he doesn't realize how much
Oh,
money
he
he gets
did say, yes,
until
he did.
after he leaves. So this is where the definitive edition diverges from the original game. In the original game, I believe Tommy wanted to join the Mafia from the get-go. I think he just wanted to I think he was tired of making money for cabs.
Yeah.
In this one, I think they're trying to, if not say that he's more reluctant, he's trying to paint himself being more reluctant to join the Mafia.
Yeah.
So he says, this is how much money it is, but I don't want to get involved with this. He says specifically, it's better to be poor and alive than rich and dead.
Yeah, exactly. And throughout these moments where you see like it cuts from Tommy to the officer, and then back to the moment where Tommy's just working for
Salieri, yeah.
for Salieri. It's just like he's getting way more deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's hard for him to get out of it.
Yes. So for reference sake, and once again, they hand him this money. So as far as they're concerned, they just repaid a favor. So they didn't give him a loan for that.
No, but it was still a favor though.
That. Wait a second. So I will say this. It might have been a favor, but at the same time, he did save two of their members' lives.
Yeah.
So he did them a solid there, and they paid him back. So as far as they're concerned, they're square. But this is where once again that whole once you do something for them, you're in. The next day he's working the cab.
Yeah.
And then the competing Don Morello.
Yes.
Two of his guys come up, pull him out the car, beat him up, bust up his cab.
And starts running too, and then he goes back to Don
To the Salieri place,
and asks him for help.
Yes.
And then I'm like, no. I mean, I understand why he did it, but I'm saying at the same time, that at that point, your life is over.
Yeah, and specifically what happens is, Sam's really good at bullshitting, right?
Oh, yes.
He says, oh, really now? Because basically the two guys like, look, we don't have a problem with you. We want to talk to that cab over there. And Sam's like, that right. Well, then there's a Don's there to drive him. So anything you have to say to him, you can say to me. And he's like, well, is that so? Listen here, we're not leaving without that cabbie. So Paulie wants him a shotgun. He's like, well, then maybe you ain't. Wait, I gotta do it right. Well, maybe you ain't leaving at all.
Yeah, man.
And Paulie sounds like that. No disrespect to the voice actor, but you could have picked a deeper voice for him.
Yeah, because man, Paulie, man, because when he wasn't talking, I was like, okay, pretty badass. But as soon as he opened his mouth, I'm like, oh no, that does not match your
oh no.
your demeanor. You gotta change that.
Yeah.
Nah.
And I think they did it on purpose too, just to show this like, he's this big tough guy, but he has like this nonsense voice.
But Sammy drinks a lot though. He's an alcoholic.
Yes.
Good Lord.
Yes. Paul is an alcoholic.
Oh, so my Paul, yeah.
Sam, I think drinks to some degree too, but Paul is depicted as just being outright drunk.
Yeah.
But either way, so they save him and they tell him like, okay, let's go beat the Don because they want to hear about this. Which once again makes sense. Two of your opposing people showed up on your doorstep trying to gun down a guy who helped out two of your guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So at that point, Salieri walks in, and immediately Salieri is like, he walks in, he's very calm. He looks at Tommy, analyzes him, and he's like, okay, this must be the cab.
Yeah.
Right? So he's like, okay, so that's his name. Asks what he does. He says, yeah, I drive this cab, and he said, and Don asks, is this cab, is it your livelihood? It's like, yes, sir, it is. And he's like, I feel some responsibility here because once again, it kind of is Salieri's fault.
Yeah,
and it's not because it's like anything he directly did.
Yeah.
It's just because he's Salieri.
Yeah, no,
and he
of course.
understands that. But he also says, so I'm going to give you a small loan. Because at this point, they're doing him 2 solids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once again, they could have said no about the help. But once again, he's doing 2 solids. They saved his life, and now he's going to give him a small loan to drop his cab. And once again, Tommy could have taken the loan, but he says no. I want to bust up the guys who jacked up my cab.
Yeah, but again, I feel like after he said that, that's still them doing a favor for him. For Tommy.
Okay, so I might be confused. Are you talking about like the very first time he had money,
No,
or the second time?
No, second time.
Okay, I thought it was the first.
Oh no, second time.
No, second time, yes, 100%.
Yeah.
The moment he said,
Yeah.
the moment he, because once again, it's a difference between, there is a difference between them offering a loan as a favor, because once again, they are expecting to be repaid back, and he's going to have to pay it back at some point. But he specifically says, I don't want a handout. I want to get the people that busted my cab.
Yes.
And at this point, Salary is just laughing. It's like, you hear that, Frank? The kid wants my permission to get into a fight.
Yeah, exactly.
And he gives him his blessing, because at this point, Sam and Polly have told the Don about this cab driver with his amazing driving skills.
Yeah.
And Salieri recognized Tommy from the description. So the moment Tommy said, I want to get revenge, that was Salieri going, I could probably use this guy.
Yeah.
And that was it for Tommy.
Yeah, because I'm saying, like, throughout the whole story, it's just like, in certain situations, in every situation, it just gets worse and worse and worse. But I think for Tommy, and I think you and I had discussed a little bit about this, where, like, we were trying to determine whether or not, like, which moment, what was this true moment where, like, time for, like, you know what, I need to get out.
Yes.
And I think I said the moment where he had the gun pointed at one of the Baltimore girls. But how did you explain? You said no, it wasn't because it was however you explained it. You said like when he gave her the money and when he didn't shoot her, he still wanted to be part of the mafia, but I don't think at that moment he truly understood like he was in deep shit.
So what exercise on here is it happened a little bit later in the game.
Oh yeah.
And we'll rewind back. But throughout the game, whenever you're not playing Tommy has a very clear character quirk where he doesn't like to shoot people he doesn't believe deserves to be shot. He doesn't like to kill people. In game, you're gunning down people like crazy. It has this thing called ludonarrative dissonance, which, by the way, if you're one of the people who use that terminology, you're not as smart as you think you are. Shut the hell up. And no, I'm not sorry about that. You're not that smart. Shut up. So what happens is, I can't wait for either. So what happens is, in gameplay, that's you playing the game.
Yes.
That's you controlling the character. But in cutscenes, that is a passive experience. That is Thomas 100% through and through. So throughout the game, Thomas will not kill certain people. So at one point in the game, he's just basically killed a member of these punks who were hitting on his girl. One of them survived, and he's given a task by the Don to kill off not only this kid who survived, but also to kill this bordello girl.
Yeah.
Because she's been spilling their secrets and whatnot.
Yeah.
And turns out this girl is someone that Sam has been visiting whenever he goes there, and he just opens his mouth.
Yeah.
So he tells Tommy, look, give her some money, give her $100, and tell her to skip town. She'll get the message. So Thomas busts in, tells her to basically shut her mouth, he needs to stop spilling secrets, points a gun at her head to scare her. And he doesn't tell her to leave. He just says, do you feel it? Do you understand it? Do you feel what that is? Do you understand what that's like?
Yep.
Keep your mouth shut.
And she was in tears and so much fear.
Yeah.
She got that money and got out.
Yeah. And it's just after that he's like, it's like, never forget this, skip town and don't come back.
Yeah.
And I say they clicked there because as far as he's concerned, he's just doing another job.
Yeah.
And he did a favor for his friends. I would argue it isn't until, and once again, we're fast forwarding a lot later in here, it wasn't until it didn't start clicking. It didn't click fully, but it didn't start clicking until one of the most trusted people in the Mafia betrayed them. And once again, let's rewind a bit so we can get a little bit backstory for this one.
Yeah.
So throughout the game, Thomas is running errands for the Don. He's collecting protection money. He's what's the word? He's he was a race for them so they can keep a bet going.
Mm-hmm.
He's finding other stuff and whatnot. But at some point, they have to lay low. And
Oh yes, yes, yes.
and then the Don's right hand man, Frank, who's been with the Don for 30 years.
Yes.
Has to. Sorry about the cut there. I had to deal with some stuff off screen.
Yeah.
So where were we at again? Oh, right. So yeah. So throughout all this,
low.
they had to lay low because they had just shot up a church at this point.
Yeah.
This was right after the thing with the Bordello girl.
Yes.
And Frank is giving Tommy a story, and Frank has always been like this, basically like this voice of reason for the gang. He's been like this calming presence. He's been like basically, he's the accountant. He's basically like the advisor, that kind of thing. And no one expected him to do this, but he's basically telling Tommy that, hey, look, one day you're probably gonna end up running a family.
Yeah.
Because he says point blank, Polly's strong, but that's basically his ceiling. That's where he's at.
Yeah.
Sam is loyal, but he has no vision.
Yeah.
You could end up running this family. Afterwards, he tells him a story about how he had his dog, and Salieri almost drowned it because it lost one race.
That was crazy.
Afterwards, he leaves. Turns out Frank ends up betraying the family, right?
Yep.
And
that was crazy.
And Thomas is ordered to go kill him. So Tommy ends up, going out there. He finds out where Frank is. Turns out, Frank's family had been threatened by Morello, and in exchange for, giving up money on giving up stuff on the Don, he'll be let off scot free. And this is where Frank basically spills it to Thomas, like what it's like to actually be in the Mafia.
Yeah.
And he says, look, Tommy, I'm tired. I'm tired of having to look over my shoulder for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Check under my car for a bomb when I want to someday drive.
That was sad hearing that. I was like, that's crazy. You can't even go outside.
Yes. Yeah, he has to basically be careful 24/7. And that kind of stuff right there,
I couldn't do.
And that's when I think it started the clip for Tommy.
No, it did. But
I think the moment that really clicked it happened much later. It was after his wife Sarah had basically told him that after he killed this guy, this politician, he's basically correctly everybody like maybe, but he gave me the right to vote. He gave your daughter the right to vote, and she basically said, don't do nothing you don't want to be remembered for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You think about the kind of man you're going to be. And he started thinking about it, and then it started all coming to a head where they're about to kill the opposing Don. He ends up trying to kill the Morello's younger brother, but he ends up car bombing this random lady.
Yeah, oh my God. She died, didn't she?
She died, yeah.
The
car blew up.
Because it
was an ignition bomb.
Oh, that's right, that's right, yeah.
So when she put it on, boom, it went off.
And I think he might have had PTSD during that time because he was on the phone with somebody, I can't remember.
He's on the phone with Sarah.
Yeah, with Sarah, and he was talking like
not Sarah, it was Polly.
Yeah, but Polly.
And he said it all went wrong, it all went bad, Because he wasn't trying to kill her.
No, he wasn't,
And I think that's when it clicked.
Yeah.
That's when it clicked that I'm in too deep. But if that isn't the moment, then this moment definitely clicked for him. It's near the end of the game where he's having a heart-to-heart with Polly, his best friend. And Polly basically tells him, look, man, I'm 40. I've got nothing to show for it. We have these moments where it's like I have to get up and dust off all the rust, or I was like to be shot dead. But then you have these quiet times where the rust comes back and forth. I can't keep doing this. I need to get out. And I think that's when it clicked for Tommy. I can't keep doing this either.
That's the only time I've ever seen Sammy very vulnerable.
Polly.
That was her Polly.
Yeah.
Polly, yeah.
Because and it makes sense because it's not it makes sense because throughout the game, Polly's only ever opens up like that when he's drunk.
Yeah,
And
but
this one, he's
he was
straight up sober.
Yeah, he was sober. I was like, and I was actually shocked.
And he's basically begging Tommy to help him get out.
Yeah, but it was like, but like, I think in that moment he was truly scared.
Yeah.
Like he like and very what he said, he had nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
He has nothing, no degree, no nothing.
And no woman's gonna want him.
Yeah.
He's basically going to die alone.
Yeah.
As far as he knows.
Yeah. And that's crazy though.
And that's why it's like with Mafia. I mean, I know we're skipping over a lot of parts here.
Yeah.
But that's why the first Mafia game I feel like is such an amazing game because it tells a deeply personal
It really
story.
does. No, it really does.
Because it's not about like the robberies and whatnot. Because you go on like, a lot of these crazy heists. You know, his first job is he stops a moonshine house from being stolen by the opposing dog and gets the money. He saves both his best friends multiple times. He has to win a race, a circuit race.
Oh yes, yes.
That they rig obviously, but he has to win a race for the family so that way not everybody on the block gets bankrupted.
Yeah.
And then more like moonshine running and all this other stuff, shooting up a church, hunting down the people that
was
Sarah.
Woo.
You go on a lot of stuff, but all of it is ultimately building up to the simple fact that the Mafia is nothing more than just a game.
Yeah.
And once you're in a game,
you can't get out. You can't get out.
You either die, or basically, you
die.
Yeah. Or you're lucky enough to live to an age where you can die.
Yeah, exactly. Because Tommy, I forgot how old he was at the very end, but he was old.
At the very end of it, because at the very end, skipping a little bit further ahead, he basically gives his testimony to the DA. Because it turns out this DA has been looking for the guy who killed Morello.
Yeah,
and it turns out that
yes.
Tommy, the guy he's sitting down having breakfast with, is the guy who killed him. He's like, you fucking ghost.
Yes.
I've been looking for you for 3 years.
Yeah, I know you have, but I got something for you. I got all the people in charge. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I got his books. I got everything. And he says you're going to testify. You're going to have to sit there on the bench looking Salieri, Ralphie, Sarah's father, all of them dead die.
But that right there, when he said that, like, that is scary because I'm telling you, when that happens, once that happens, he's coming after you.
Yes. If not him, then some other mob boss he's close to.
Yeah, but I think he even mentioned like in the very beginning, I have connections everywhere.
Yeah.
I have connections everywhere. So it's like if you screw me over or anybody in this family, you're dead.
No, he didn't say he had connections.
Well,
what Salieri basically said was, because at this point we have no idea there's a bigger mafia out there. We
Yeah.
these two. He says, now as long as you're straight with me, you're going to live in the high life. But you lose my trust. That's all he says.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But
and Tommy says, Salieri, you never have to worry about me. Oh boy, did those words come back to haunt him.
Yes, they did. Whoa.
Because honestly, with Tommy, it wasn't Salieri that you had that should have been worried. It should have been you who should have been worried about Salieri.
Yeah.
Because throughout the game, we kind of glossed over this. Salieri throughout the game has actually been depicted as this surprisingly reasonable dude. Like straight up, he's been depicted as like this. You could almost see him as like this cool, kind uncle you like sit down and listen to stories about. With.
Yeah, actually right because I actually did saw that like in the beginning, but as time progressed,
we saw that he was honestly no better than Morello.
No, he was not.
Because Morello was short-tempered and prone to explosive bouts of violence.
But
he literally shot a dude dead who was already hanging because he was being too loud.
But at least he showed his true colors though.
Yeah.
Cause man, the other guy did at first. Like, again, like he was acting all nice and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. If you do this for me, if you stick by my side, you have this type of lifestyle. But look, like we said, it just became crazier and crazier. He got more angry and more angrier.
And I don't know if you noticed, but the shift in his demeanor happened. We saw a couple of times happen, but you could make the argument that it's him being understandably frustrated when they make like once again when they killed that one kid, but the other kid got away when they killed
exactly. Of course.
But I would argue after Frank told the story about the dog, And Tommy, talked to Salieri and Salieri said, "You must still be trying to fuck that dog." Then it's like, yeah, I mean, the one you tried to drown, yeah, the one I then shot dead.
Yeah.
And it's like it was right after a scene where they shot a dog dead earlier, and Tommy's like, "What kind of man shoots a dog?"
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna get crazy.
And then after that, we just see Salieri slowly have more and more bouts of violent anger, culminating in a moment where we're driving him. We're in the game. You're driving him to a new restaurant that he really liked. He had a dinner date. His driver called out, so Tommy had to take him. Then Morella's goons drive up. They shoot up the entire place.
Yes.
And Salierie's like, "Take me to this guy's place. He knew where I was. Calls out sick today, and I get shot at. Nah, I want him dead." And he not only beats the crap out of him, he curve stomps his brain into the ground.
Right.
To censor it
over several times.
Yes.
He does not stop, and
Yeah.
that's really scary. And to make it worse, it was in broad daylight.
It was in broad daylight. In a little courtyard area overlooked by a bunch of apartments.
Yeah, but basically, and I'm glad you mentioned apartments too, because I'm telling you, if everybody would just stand there just looking, they would not call the police. Because I'm telling you, everybody in that city knows who he is. So again, they probably would just sit there and watch him just bash his skull in.
Yeah.
And that's scary in broad daylight.
And this was a thing that I believe did happen back in the day with the Mafia. They would operate and do all these violent things in broad daylight, and there was nothing that could be done about it.
Yeah, I believe that, but it's just I've never even imagined myself even doing that type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because it's just not for me.
And then it all culminates in Paulie. It was eventually Salieri. Morella's dead.
Yeah.
Salieri basically runs the entire town.
Yeah.
And he starts peddling in drugs and dope, which is something that he said he was not going to do at the
And
beginning.
he
Immediately does it because money's running low.
Yes.
And they got a little lifestyle.
And
drugs do sell a lot.
Yeah, but he was desperate though.
Yeah.
He was desperate. That's too hard.
Yeah. And now once he started down that lifestyle,
it can't go.
But then afterwards, and this is when Paulie and Sam and Sam when we found out later that Sam was actually in on the entire time. He knew about the entire time.
Yeah.
Paulie and Tommy didn't,
Yeah.
and they have reservations about it. But because they both don't think that dope's the thing they should be peddling in. And that's when Paulie proposes to Sam, because Paulie already proposed to Sam and Tommy on the way to this job about robbing a bank.
Yeah.
They say forget about it. After that, Paulie approaches Tommy again and says, "Will you help me out?" And Tommy agrees to it. Then after that, they rob the bank. Goes well. Next day comes the money. Tommy thinks he's gonna finally get out. Paulie's dead. Sam calls up the phone, says, "Hey, look, man, someone's after you. I don't know what happened." And then Tommy goes to meet Sam, and it's a setup.
Yeah.
Sam has basically set him up to basically get shot at and whatnot. And to be fair, I feel kind of bad for Sam because Sam throughout the entire game has been described as blanking it out. He doesn't think about anything. And I think the reason why is that he's just not good at making decisions he can live with.
Yeah, but I think, but I'm glad I mentioned it. But I think with this decision that he made, I think he told him, so you know what, whatever happens, I can live with it.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, because
he said, because remember in the moment he goes, "There you go again, Tommy. Make me choose between my friends and
my
the family." And he said, "Look, I'm straight with the Dons. We're cool. So as far as he's concerned, as long as he's good, he's good."
Yeah.
And I think that's I think that's where everybody got wrong about Sam. It's not that he doesn't think about anything. All you think of is, am I good? If I'm good, I'm good.
Yeah. If I'm not, I'm not. I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And but he knew, but he knew what he was doing. He was in good standing with the boss, so it was just like, whatever happens to me, happens to me. At least I won't get shot in the back by my own boss.
Yeah. And he even told Tommy, you spend so much time looking around you, you just need to spend a little bit more time looking over his shoulder.
Yeah,
because Tommy didn't look over his shoulder.
No,
legitimately speaking, Tommy never looked over his shoulder.
No, he never did. He never did. He was so focused on trying to get the girl for one, and then on top of that, trying to please the boss.
Yeah.
And then on that, trying to make his money.
Yeah.
He never looked over his shoulder. I'm like, bro, this is a serious thing you're in right now.
Yeah.
You have to look every single time, wherever you go, whether it's going to the store, whatever. You have to watch your back 24/7.
And once again, this game takes place over the course of 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
So after this incident with Sam, we then cut back to the restaurant, and then we find out that the opening of the game takes place immediately after he has his gunfight with Sam and he shoots Sam.
Yeah.
And this is the one person that Tommy hesitated to kill and ended up killing anyway.
Yeah.
Every other character he hesitated to kill, he didn't end up killing.
Yeah. And it was just it was interesting to see how the DEA officer was telling him on some you know, I'll protect you for as long as I can, but
I can't guarantee.
Yeah, I can't guarantee it. And like he had no other choice though.
Yeah.
But it was just, again I felt bad for Tom. I'm like, man, you can't get out of this situation. Like that's your only option.
And he still didn't know how to do 8 years in jail.
Yeah.
For what he did.
Yeah,
and he did do his time.
No, he did, but he left. But again, his boss is still in jail. But they all know that he's the one that snitched on them.
Yeah, they all know.
Yeah.
And the game ends on, he's walking his daughter down the aisle, he's getting her married, and he tells a story. He basically lets everybody know, because he recites what happens at the beginning of the game, where the detective tells him that family is your greatest weakness.
Yeah.
And Tommy says, you know what? He's right. It is our greatest weakness, but it's also our greatest strength. I did a lot of things I'm proud of.
Yeah.
I did time, but I came back a wiser man, a better husband, and a better father.
Yeah.
And then the game ends with him getting shot by his 2 other mob members, who says, Tom and Angelo? He goes, yeah. And he walks in the front yard, throws the whole thing because he knows that this is it.
He is it.
And he turns around and he goes, so here he sits in the guards, gets shot in the chest in broad daylight. They drive off, and on his dying breath's heart, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Because his family is safe. Because
Yeah.
now that he's gone,
Yeah, they're safe.
They're safe.
They have no reason to attack them.
because it was only him who snitched.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just it's still sad to me that he went away, but at the same time, that's the only way. That's the only way
it was going to end.
Yeah. And that's just wild to me. I'm just like, oh Jesus.
And that's why I would say that in terms of all 3 of the Mafia games, this one story is probably the most heartbreaking.
No, it is because like I said, I've only played the first and third one. Oh no. I only played the third one, but just seen the cut scenes between the 2. This is the most heartbreaking, but the best story for me.
Yeah.
So,
And I should specify by saying in terms of linear stories,
Yes.
because I would argue that one of the alternate endings of 3 is probably even more tragic.
Oh yeah, no, I did, but I did hear a couple of different scenarios. One of them was really messed up.
And when we get around the 3, I'd be interested in hearing which scenarios that you have actually seen and which ones have you heard about.
Yeah, but it's so messed up.
Because there is an ending to, and once again, and just for quick reference sake, the main lead of Mafia 3, his name is Lincoln Clay.
Yep.
One of the alternate endings that he has, and I think this one is actually the canonical ending to his story, it is beyond tragic. It is beyond tragic, and that's all I'm going to say about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be it for today, because that was Mafia. If you want to pick this game up, I would recommend it.
Yeah, I would too. I'm gonna say I haven't played it, and you haven't played it either, correct?
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie. Mob games are not my biggest forte. I mostly play gangster games, like specifically like urban gangsters, like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, for instance.
Yeah.
If I want to play a game about a gangbanger, it's probably going to be about a gangbanger, not a
Yeah.
mafia person. But I wouldn't mind giving Mafia a shot.
No, I would. I'm definitely buying this version.
Yeah.
'Cause I haven't played it, but just the story alone, I gotta play it.
And I'm fairly certain that is backwards compatible on all newer consoles.
Yeah, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, yeah.
And Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
So
yes.
if you want to pick it up, go for it. If you have picked up already, what are your thoughts on it? Like story, gameplay, that kind of stuff. I'd like to hear you guys' opinions down below.
Yes, please do, because I'm actually curious what y'all think about this game. I'm curious myself.
And with that, we'll see you next week when we do Mafia 2.
Peace.
Deuces.